Okay, I just wanted to talk real quick about this Vox article that I found that's really crap. It says Democrats' 2018 gerrymandering problem is really bad. And I'd like to start this off with no, it's not. And I'll tell you why. This says a leading forecast says they'll get 54% of the votes and only 47% of the seats. The problem with this statement is it's very loaded and it doesn't take in account, people changing their opinion. I mean, this is the same. These are the same people that said Hillary would win the presidency in a landslide. It says here, it was somewhere. Um, if if elections for the U.S. House were held today, polling averages suggest Democrats would get a little bit over 50%, 54% of the vote. Now, this here, this here is massive. If elections were held today, this completely nullifies this entire article because this matters almost nothing. This has no real weight in the real world because opinions change a lot. Like, that's not even the biggest problem. That's just a small problem in this. It does nullify the whole thing, but it's not the only thing that does that. And I'll show you why. You click on this link here. This takes you to elections.huffingtonpost, and that's the first red flag. It is the HuffPost pollster. Now, the problem with HuffPost pollster, or any pollster, is that typically you're going to see the party that is not in power have the most support according to these pollsters. You know, unless it's something like this last election. I'll get into that here in a second of why the polls were really bad, like for Trump. So the reason this looks so heavily Democrat was, yeah, first of all, I just want to point out Vox said they'd win 54%. That's not going to happen. It would be a lot bigger if this were if it were following this trend line. It would probably be, well, let's find out. No, I don't have time to do that. It would be a lot bigger. It would be like 10% if it were following this trend line, because this doesn't account for 100% of voters. Okay, the problem with these pollsters is the people who are already in control don't care. And what I'm saying is the Republicans who are in power, when they get called up by a pollster, they see an email from a pollster, they don't care. They're not going to answer, because why would they? They already control, the White House, the Capitol Hill, and they just don't care. There's no logical reason for them to pick up the phone and give them an answer. Democrats, on the other hand, do have a reason, because a lot of them are really passionate. They really want their guy in office, or girl. It's 2017, boys. Can't be racist. Can't be sexist either. No. Also, HuffPost, very left leaning. So if there were people answering a HuffPost poll, it would almost certainly swing very far left. And that's the problem with these polls. It's always in statistics, this is what we call a non-response bias. People on one side tend to not care as much as the other. It's like this. This is an example I really like. If you have someone making a poll for stricter gun laws, the people for the stricter gun laws are going to care a lot more, and they're going to answer. The people who are against the stricter gun laws it's already status quo. What they want is already, it is what we already have. So why would they answer? Because they know that that poll's not going to do anything, and this should be a waste of time. These people are really passionate about change. They're really gonna, want to respond, and that's what causes this huge swing. And honestly, if you want my opinion, uh, this has no basis in reality. This is just based on trends I've seen. I think it's gonna be another landslide for the right, um, just because of how big the divide is getting, and a lot of people who are in the middle don't want to be on the side of terrorist groups like Black Lives Matter and Antifa, and so they're leaning more right because today you can't really go middle. You have to be right or left, and that's what's going to cause this because a lot more people are going to jump ship to the right as opposed to the left because they don't want to get caught up in the hoo-ha that's in the left right now. Anyway, I just wanted to make this video talking about this really bad Vox article. Also, real quick, I forgot to mention why the polls were so bad for Trump. You guys have probably heard this about 6 million times, but the big reason was that people who were voting against him were so passionate and so vocal about it, and the people that were voting for him were kind of shamed into not saying anything. And a lot of the people who ended up voting, like, swung right for Trump, at the time a lot of these polls were conducted, they were not sure, and they had no idea who they were going to vote for. So they didn't answer any of the pollsters. They just said, I don't know, and they didn't answer. So it swung way left.